history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
What a powerful political comeback of Donald Trump in the White House. Wow. Like him or not, Donald Trump is back. And if you want to find more, watch this.
I get it. But we must accept the results of this election. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for. But hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. Look, I am so proud of the race we ran. Now I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power. A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we lose an election, we accept the results. That principle, as much as any other, distinguishes democracy from monarchy or tyranny. And anyone who seeks the public trust must honor it. At the same time, in our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body.
Donald Trump is being elected as the 47th president of the United States of America. But how possible is that? Because everything was set in order for them to put him aside.
We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Yes, they did everything possible in their power to destroy the man called Donald Trump politically. And all surprisingly, the world woke up to another new breaking news, which no one see it coming. But how did we get to this point? Well, it all started from the assassination attempt to the indictment of Donald Trump.
January 6th and the days after the attack on the U.S. Capitol. This comes after former President Donald Trump faces a new federal indictment related to allegations he tried to illegally interfere with the last election.
Is how everything was planned in order for them to put Donald Trump aside from these elections. We also what happened in Washington, D.C., 6th January 2021.
On the afternoon of January 6, 2021, supporters of Donald Trump stormed the United States Capitol building. The attack was an effort to prevent certification of the results of the 2020 presidential election, in which Democrat Joe Biden had defeated Republican Donald Trump, the incumbent president. In the months leading up to the election, Trump had pushed false claims that Democrats were planning to rig the results. After Trump lost, he promoted the falsehoods further and encouraged his supporters to attend a rally on January 6th to protest the congressional vote counting ceremony. At the rally near the White House, Trump called on Vice President Mike Pence to stop the congressional proceedings and send the results back to the states to be recertified. Pence did not. Trump also called on the crowd to march on the Capitol. Before Trump's speech had concluded, a mob of his supporters gathered around the Capitol building barriers. As people from the rally began to join them, the crowd broke through the barriers and overwhelmed police officers. Shortly after 2 p.m., the mob breached the Capitol building, forcing Congress to recess and be locked down.
And because of that protest, Donald Trump was accused of betrayal, saying that he circulated lies about the fraudulent elections. He revolted these people in order for them to go and attack the House.
Democrats are weaponizing the Justice Department against me because they know I am winning, and they are desperate to prop up their failing candidate, Kamala Harris.
When they put the blame on him, and we also how they have to take him to court, accusing him, saying that he is the one who revolted these people with lies and trying to stop Joe Biden to not take the office as the president-elected of the United States of America.
After a new federal grand jury re-indicted former President Donald Trump on 4 charges in special counsel Jack Smith's case, accusing him of conspiring to overturn the results of the 2020 election. This morning, never before released footage from January 6th and the days after the attack on the Capitol, including video of then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi slamming former President Trump during a meeting with her staff.
There's a domestic enemy in the White House.
The footage was turned over to Congress by HBO and obtained by CBS News. It comes one day after the special counsel's revised Trump indictment meant to comply with the Supreme Court's July ruling that presidents have broad immunity for official acts.
The allegations relate solely to the actions former President Trump took as a candidate, in other words, in his personal capacity.
The slimmed-down charging document removed the allegations concerning Trump's attempts to pressure the Justice Department into supporting his false claims that the election was rigged. One of the unnamed co-conspirators, who CBS News identified as Jeffrey Clark, a Trump ally within the DOJ, has also been taken out.
This is a persecution of a political opponent.
Trump has repeatedly denied all wrongdoing, and last night he again accused the special counsel of election interference. Trump's lawyers are expected to fight it.
When we then also how the court have to come and cancel these charges against Donald Trump, saying that presidents they are having that immunity whenever they take decisions during their mandates. But that was not enough, because there were still some judges who have to go against this and come back and insist on taking Donald Trump even more far to the court in order for them to deal up with him.
The release of this falsehood-ridden, unconstitutional J6 brief immediately following Tim Walz's disastrous debate performance and 33 days before the most important election in the history of our country is another obvious attempt by the Harris-Biden regime to undermine and weaponize American democracy and interfere in the 2024 presidential election.
Nevertheless, we saw Donald Trump being found guilty about 20 cases which was behind him, and then Donald Trump who have to come and show his regret on how the justice system is being at the service of a certain group of individuals who want to destroy Donald Trump. And that is when Donald Trump have to come and express himself by saying this.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people, and they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here.
He almost did not make it to the ballot, since there were a lot of group of people who were busy following him up, and this have to be raising up a lot of conflict, even in some states, because we had to see also on his side some lawyers who have to go and defend him by asking this state to remove Donald Trump from their blacklist. But that was not all, because Donald Trump was the first president, not only in the USA, but apparently in the entire world, who was banned to be in social media. We saw different social media such as Facebook, Instagram, name them as you wish. All these social medias, they have received an order in order for them to block Donald Trump, so that the man should not be able to have any kind of platform for him to express himself.
What Facebook, Twitter, and Google have done is a total disgrace and an embarrassment to our country. Free speech has been taken away from the President of the United States because the radical left lunatics are afraid of the truth. But the truth will come out anyway, bigger and stronger than ever before. The people of our country will not stand for it. These corrupt social media companies must pay a political price and must never again be allowed to destroy and decimate our electoral process.
Banning Donald Trump from social media, it had left him without no choice, because in the world of today, it is all about communicating with the world. If you are not being part of these social media platforms, it is like you have isolated yourself from the world. So what Donald Trump had to do was for him to create his own platform in order for him to be able to communicate with his followers or people who still believe in him. And this took place until when Elon Musk decided to buy the Twitter and change it to the X. That is when he bring Donald Trump and reopen his account. Elon Musk went even far by offering his service to Donald Trump administrations in case if he have to win this election that just took place.
I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love
if it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter.
Now, since they could not be able to succeed by taking Donald Trump through the justice system inside the courts, through the suspending him from participating in social media, now they have to come up with another plan. And this time we're talking about the assassinations of Donald Trump. Yes, he was addressing people when these assassinations took place.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Moving his hair. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go. Up. Hawkeye's here. Hawkeye's here. You ready?
That incident led up to this legendary photo, which generation to generation won't forget of what had happened that day. But now that they have tried all these things in order for them to put Donald Trump and they keep on failing, what can them do now next?
So if you begin with criticism, then you go to protest, then you go to impeachment, now you go to indictment, and none of them work, what's next? I mean, graph it out, man. We're speeding toward assassination, obviously. They have decided, permanent Washington, both parties have decided that there's something about Trump that's so threatening to them, they just can't have him.
What happened next was for them to try to re-assassinate him again while Donald Trump was busy playing golf in one of his golf field. And this had now revealed the weakness of the Secret Service, which is supposed to be protecting Donald Trump. But here comes a strange man who walked in and even positioned himself in the right place in order for him to take Donald Trump. They failed what they could have given as a good reasons.
This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster.
Now that this second assassination attempt against the former President Donald Trump, who is now a current president of the United States of America, well, now that it has failed, the media of the Western, which is supposed to be speaking the truth and clarifying up everything in order for the world to understand, well, they were now beating around the bush. Instead, they were busy accusing Donald Trump and saying that no, he made all this. He faked up his own assassination attempt against him so that he can attract some attention from the people who are supposed to be voting for the president.
The Trump campaign is seizing on this apparent assassination attempt as a way to rile up his base.
He's trying to use this also politically, unsurprisingly.
The apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio.
To show you how all this it has been embarrassing for them, they end up communicating with Google in order for Google to hide this footage of both two assassination attempts which took place against Donald Trump.
If you Googled Rogan Trump,
they got to Joe. They got to Joe. He's apologizing.
You could only get clips. You couldn't watch the whole episode. You couldn't find it. And so we reached out to them a couple of times and they fixed it to their credit. So now you can find it.
At the end of the day, Donald Trump ended up getting all the necessary support from the Republicans, and they have to nominate him to become the only candidate who will have to face the Democrats. When Donald Trump was going through all the things that we just mentioned and show you through the footage and the different reports in this video, well, on the other side, the Democrats, they were living their peaceful and enjoyable life. They spent more than $3 billion in order for them to win these elections.
Yeah, well, I think it was kind of predictable, given the campaign that's been run by the Democrats. It seems obvious that there was going to be a lack of self-awareness in the end, and that's kind of defined by the amount of time it took her to come out and actually concede that she'd been beaten, and beaten very, very hard. It was a significant win for the Republicans. We've seen that.
So they had put everything ready in order for them to defeat Donald Trump. They had the justice. They had the medias on their side. They had everything necessary that they needed in order for them to win these elections. Above all, they even put the most high security for the entire elections that have took place in the USA. We also how they have to go and secure the White House. They had to go and secure the House of Senate.
This is Lafayette Park. They've got 8-foot-tall metal fencing that's gone around the entire perimeter just outside the White House, of course, the executive building. And they have more on standby because, again, they want to make sure the area is secure. Secret Service saying that they've been doing this for a while. They did put up some fencing yesterday. They'll be putting up more today. As I said, this is not just happening here at the Naval Observatory where the vice president lives. These 8-foot-tall metal fencing has also gone up around there. In addition, the Secret Service is saying that in Palm Beach County, Florida, where former President Trump will be spending election night, they're also securing that area to ensure safety for those folks there. These measures aren't just for election, but also as authorities gear up for the January 6th certification and January 20th inauguration. They want to make sure all that is in place. D.C. police say there will be street closures beginning tonight at 7 in preparation for Vice President Harris's election party at Howard University.
In order for them to not have to experience again of what had happened in 2021.
Unfortunately, it's necessary from the January 6th insurrection from 2020. You have to be realistic. It's err on the side of caution.
So you can see that with all this being said and all this strategy that they have put in place, it actually tried to announce to us that something's about to happen, something serious is about to happen, whether it is the fraud, because it is only people who are expecting to win through a fraud. They are the one who can have this kind of, they're the one who have to take this kind of measurement in order for them to avoid a certain kind of strategy. But God also on his side has his own way of doing things. People of America, they went to the elections and they made their choices. Surprisingly, for some of us here at Cool Buzz TV, the moment when they announced that there is 5 states which is being counted so far, and Donald Trump was leading in those 5 states, that's the moment we start having that confidence that the plan which Democrats, with everyone who had fought so much in order for Donald Trump to be part of these elections, to not be part of these elections, of course, they kind of like failing. That's the moment we sense it. And as they try to count even more votes in different states, we saw Donald Trump leading again with about 11 states, while Kamala Harris, she was having about 3 states. then we say that, okay, things are promising. At the end of the day, Donald Trump was announced as the winner.
This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country, and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Donald Trump promised all his voters, saying that he's going to respect each and every promise he had made to the people of America and people of the world during his campaign.
Promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises. Nothing will stop me from keeping my word to you, the people.
And all these predictions that we had at Cool Buzz TV, we end up confirming everything more properly. The moment when Kamala Harris had to abandon his voters sitting outside during the night waiting for her to come and address them. Instead, she disappeared and sent a representative to come and address this crowd who was waiting for her, and saying that no, she will have to address them on the following day.
So you won't hear from the vice president tonight, but you will hear from her tomorrow. She will be back here tomorrow to address not only the HU family, not only to address her supporters, but to address the nation. So thank you. We believe in you. May God bless you. May God keep you. And go HU and go Harris. Thank you all.
It was at that moment, that's when we pick up the defeat of Kamala Harris. It was at that point we noticed that Kamala Harris with Democrats, they are going to lose these elections, and they have started considering they are lost so far. And that is how we end up realizing that Donald Trump is the winner of these elections. Because with him, at least, he did not abandon his followers or his voters. He went straight to them and addressed them by thanking them.
Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this.
At the end of the day, Donald Trump ended up getting all the necessary support from the Republicans, and they have to nominate him to become the only candidate who will have to face the Democrats. Now, let us stop there for a second. We'll back to the side of Donald Trump. Let us jump now to the side of the Democrats. How did Kamala Harris manage to get to these positions? Because we all know that Joe Biden is the man who was in charge, is the man who's supposed to be facing Donald Trump, because Joe Biden is just finishing his first term. So according to the constitutions of America, he's supposed to have 2 terms in order for him to leave the office and give it to someone else. But how did things get to this point?
We have a very different plan for the economy. We, you and I, together, we're turning things around, and we're doing it in a big way.
Because we all remember that since Joe Biden was busy campaigning, we saw the support of Kamala Harris.
The way that the president's demeanor in that report was characterized could not be more wrong on the facts, and clearly politically motivated. We have a very bold and vibrant president in Joe Biden. Thank God our president is in good shape, in good health, and is ready to lead in our second term. Age is more than a chronological fact. Not only is he absolutely authoritative in rooms around the globe, but in the Oval Office, meeting with members of Congress, meeting with leaders in industry.
And we saw how the Democrats, they had to re-nominate Joe Biden. And Kamala Harris, she was in the front line to give all a support to Joe Biden, regardless of what has been said about Joe Biden's mental health. At least Kamala Harris, she had to come and give all the full support to Joe Biden.
I spend a lot of time with Joe Biden, be it in the Oval Office or the Situation Room. And I can tell you, this is someone who is tireless in terms of working on behalf of the American people. A very bold and vibrant president in Joe Biden. He is an extraordinary leader, and I wish that people could see what I see, because there's only one person who sits behind that resolute desk. I work with Joe Biden every day. The work that under Joe Biden's leadership our administration has accomplished is transformative. I'm not going to engage in that hypothetical because Joe Biden is very much alive and running for re-election.
So Kamala Harris with the Democrats, they continue to support Joe Biden, regardless of all these rumors which has been raised concerning Joe Biden, his mental fitness to be in the office as the President of the United States of America. They deny everything, even though the doctors who had to go in the White House, in the House, and tell all the Senate over there about Joe Biden's mental health problem that is facing. Well, they deny everything, and we all end up seeing how Joe Biden starts behaving in public places. Now, here's the thing. As the election continued to draw more closer, we saw how the Democrats, they start disputing among themselves for those who are in favor of Joe Biden with his mental fitness, and there were those ones who were criticizing him and feeling that the man is now too old, is now even forgetting certain things. He does not behave normal as the head of the state in the public areas, and therefore they start now kind of like calling for Joe Biden to step down. But we saw how Joe Biden, with those who were supporting him, they tried to resist to all these aggressions so that he can leave the office. But until the June debate, which took place between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, that's when we saw a real stroke attacking Joe Biden.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump? I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way, my son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser. Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
That was too personal. And what surprised me the most about all this is for the fact that the Western media, they were throwing 188 on Joe Biden and throw Donald Trump away and saying that he had lost to this debate, even though we could all see of what had happened that night.
And they're having conversations about the president's performance, which they think was dismal, which they think will hurt other people down the party in the ticket.
If you're concerned about Joe Biden's age, you probably don't know Joe Biden.
Biden is actually in good shape.
And now they're in I won't say a full-fledged panic, but it's getting.
There's a full-on panic tonight.
Right. Mentally, he's quite acute.
Any aide who engages with him or reporters, we can see this. The gears of his mind are working.
The right-wing media has so fixated on Biden and Biden purportedly having cognitive issues.
It's not just
making an issue of Biden's age. It's lying. It's saying he's senile. It's saying he's demented.
Well, after this incident took place, Joe Biden was left without no choice than to withdraw from this race because the pressure from his own political party was in a very high level. So he had now to withdraw and endorse Kamala Harris in order for her to take the office. And here she comes without no platforms, without no any kind of debate among the Democrats in order for her to be at that place. She just have that gold ticket to become the candidate who have to go and represent the Democrats. And this, it has raised serious debates in the country.
This is the second time the Democratic Party has circumvented democracy and chose.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. Hillary Clinton was chosen, and she had Bruce Springsteen too. And what happened to her? And now we've chosen.
Kevin, Hillary Clinton won a primary. Okay, she won a primary. You may not.
Nobody
like
could compete with her, even Bernie Sanders.
She won a primary.
Okay.
First of all, that's the first.
So
thing.
did Kamala Harris win a primary?
Listen, we've talked about this before.
What's wrong about talking about it tonight after what you just saw?
Do you think that's really what matters to voters?
How many Democrats wish?
Your whole shtick has
Hang
been,
on a second.
let's talk about what matters to voters. Do you really think voters care about the internecine primary process?
If you're a Democrat, you sure as hell care today.
And for those reasons, Kamala hear only the results.
I hate it. I'm out.
Now, on the side of the Republicans, they start questioning, they start raising up serious question of saying that why the Democrats, they deny about the mental health of Joe Biden all these times until the last minute to kick him out.
Every single person who saw Joe Biden knew that he wasn't capable of doing the job, and for 3 years they said nothing until he became political dead weight. That is not a way to run a country. That is not a way to run a political party. That is an insult to voters.
Even though Joe Biden ended up stepping aside because of disapproved mental fitness, well, the so-called new candidate who had replaced him, she seemed also to be having a problem of forgetting things.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Donald Trump promises people that he's going to respect everything. That's good. That sounds very, very well. But we seem to have something which is not sitting okay here. Through our analysis, we end up understanding that the two political parties, whether it's the Democrats, whether it is the Republicans, they both have their visions. They all have their way of working. We all know that the Republicans, they're the one who usually be so radicals when it comes to the conflict and war. And Democrats, they're the one who usually preach the gospel of Democrats in America and around the world. They usually stand against the war.
I opposed the war in Iraq from the beginning. It was a flawed strategy that diverted attention and resources away from hunting down Osama bin Laden's terrorist network. And since then, too often, the president's Iraq policies have worsened America's security.
Well, that was back then, because today they are the one who are preaching the gospel of attacking other nations. They are supporting Ukraine with guns in order for them to go and fight other nations.
We must have Ukrainian aid approved, and we must do it quickly. The simple truth is that their battle is our battle. If they lose, Americans lose.
Remember, Democrats, they're the one who used to call the Republicans the war mastermind.
Should have had the option of everything up to and including waterboarding.
I think you ought to have all of those capabilities on the table.
So that's Dick Cheney. I mean, thank God the last administration didn't listen to him at the end.
Now, because of this misunderstanding and this kind of attack of one another, between these two political parties. It had touched some members, whether it's from the Republicans or whether it's from Democrats. They're now swiping the side because they don't agree on each other's policy.
Help us right the ship of our democracy so that history will say of us, when our time of testing came, we did our duty and we prevailed because we loved our country more. And now, it is my great honor to introduce you to our Vice President and the next President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
These are the principal causes that persuaded me to leave the Democratic Party and run as an independent, and now to throw my support to President Trump. The causes were free speech, a war in Ukraine, and the war on our children.
So, both Republicans and Democrats, they have switched on their members, those who were against Joe Biden, for the fact that he had to go ahead and replace himself with Kamala Harris, which they found that she was not suitable for that post. They went to the Republicans. And those ones for Republicans who believed that Donald Trump, after all the impeachment that they had put on him, is not sitting okay with them, they left also. They went to the side of Democrat. But at the end of the day, people of America spoke, they made their choice, and Donald Trump is back inside the White House. But guys, with all this being said, you might be asking yourself this question to say, why are we even talking about the American politics? Well, the truth is that whether we like them or not, the President of America, their actions, their signature, it is something that can change or impact your life and mine soon or later. It is for that reason we need to be monitoring their politics even more closer, so that we don't end up finding ourselves in a very big mess as the one we're having with right now through in Africa or in Asia or Middle East. Why? Because these politicians, they will do everything in their power in order for them to protect their own interest. So it is for that reasons we feel like it's very necessary and very important for us to be sitting here and having this kind of conversation with you. Donald Trump, he said that whatever I have said or promised to you, I'm going to realize it. Well, that sounds very beautiful, isn't it? But we shall wait and see if he will be able to finish whatever he has said. For an example, we all know that during his campaign, Donald Trump had promised, saying that he's going to end the war in Ukraine, because he believed that war, it is just kind of like making America lose a lot of money, billions of money, giving it to Zelensky, who have become even more rich, including his nieces and nephew. They become even more rich because the money is coming, yet people of Ukraine, they're not supporting all this. On the other side, Russia, you saw how President Vladimir Putin refused to congratulate Donald Trump. According to him, well, it's about him saying that no, this is the country which is fighting us in Ukraine, because we all know that the USA, they've been using Ukraine as a battleground in order for them to fight Russia. Well, so we shall wait and see how Donald Trump is going to finish this war as he had promised. What about in the Middle East? Because whether we like it or not, I always say that one of the biggest mistakes the Joe Biden administrations they have committed so far is by ignoring whatsoever has been happening in the Middle East, especially in Palestine. Israel is killing innocent people, and yet they are there, they are not doing nothing, they are not saying nothing, they keep quiet. Instead, they are even giving them billions of money in order for them to go ahead and commit all those kind of crimes that they've been committing. But with Donald Trump, that's not the case. That's why you saw Benjamin Netanyahu is busy worrying because is not even sure for how long Israel will resist after creating so many enemies in the Middle East. So what will be their future tomorrow if the United States, as their big brother, decided to turn their back on them? Decided to turn their back on the Israel. So we shall wait and see. What about in Africa? Well, we know that Donald Trump, yes, he might have disrespected Africans in his first mandate in 2016, but at least he was not that much involved in Africa politics as we get to see with the Biden administrations. So let's hope this time Donald Trump will try to ameliorate his relationship with African countries by trying to leave Africans be free to make their own choice and be free to trade with any country of their choice and not being imposed by so-called Europeans or a so-called United States of America. So these are the things that us as people who are outside of American borders, we are looking forward to see from these new terms that Donald Trump have secured inside the White House. I believe that will be all, guys. It was very important that we have this conversation with you. Please do us a favor, like this video in your numbers. We really do appreciate that. You know, just click that thumb button. Just click that thumb button that shows like this. We really do appreciate that. It's a way of making this video reach even more viewers out there. So if you have not subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and feel free to drop us also your comment in the comment section. Tell us what is in your mind. Tell us what to think about what we're discussing, and give us also your opinions. We'll have a look on that. I believe, guys, that will be all for today. But for now, continue to be yourself. Be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.
da da